Hey,
Hey
loves.
loves, welcome back to our channel.
I'm Bella.
And I'm Ruby, and we're the owners of Love & Co. Home. Today we're going to show you how to create a strawberry matcha candle. We've seen different versions of this candle be made, from iced coffee to different color matchas. So today we're going to give it a try. So right now what I'm doing is testing the colors that I need to blend. I'm trying to get the color right that we're going to use in the strawberry matcha. A strawberry matcha is half green and half like a pink color. So I'm blending up the wax and adding in small bits of dye chip, which this one's Hunter Green from Pro Candle Supply. So it comes in this little 2-piece chunks of wax dye, and I just cut off little pieces, and I mean small pieces, barely even discernible of how much you're actually putting in there at a time, because what you don't want is for it to get super dark and then you can't bring that to the color that you want. These are going to be pastel colors, so it'll be a pastel green and a pastel pink. So I just put in another little bit because the colors that we're getting are a little too light. So we do need it to be more green. So I just add a little bit more, drop it on a little lid, plastic lid where it can easily dry. And I can already tell that it's still a little too light. So I'm just gonna keep shaving off little bits. And unfortunately, it's just part of the process of testing. Just get the smallest amount. I feel like the liquid is more concentrated than the chips. So I won't even put all of that in there. Just put a little bit more in there. Mix, mix, mix. Mix, mix, mix. We did our test and we have our two colors we feel like are pretty in pastel. I think it'll look good. The green and the pink. The next thing, now that we have the colors ready, is to decide if you're going to have formed ice cubes and what size you want them, or if you're going to just take your wax, your gel wax. Let me get my parchment paper. One thing that I highly suggest you do when you're dealing with any kind of dyes, which I did not do, but do as I say, not as I do, I guess, is put down some kind of protectant, because especially if you're dealing with a liquid dye, it's very concentrated. So we have our gel wax, and you can cut your own ice cube shapes. So one of the things that you can do is use some of your silicone molds in different shapes. So if you wanted to do a iced coffee that had mini ice cubes, then these little square ones are perfect. This one is cute for like Valentine's Day or just a little heart-shaped moment. And then you have the wax just in its form that it comes, and you can cut that into ice cubes. So you can start to see it taking shape, and it's starting to look like a real ice cube. And once it goes into the glass, you're only going to see corners of it or parts of it, but it'll give you the idea that it's a ice cube. And then for the ones in the molds, they pop out pretty easily and they come out pretty nice and clear. I feel like the heart ones would be cute for the strawberry matcha. I think that would look pretty adorable. When you melt the gel wax, we did it over double boiler, it does stay pretty thick. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to be like super thin. At least the gel wax that we got isn't. and it will solidify very quickly. I'm gonna pour some more of these little hearts so we can make sure that we have some that kind of show throughout the glass candle jar, and then some that we'll just put on the top. So just make sure you're next to a heat source when you are melting the gel wax down, because otherwise, as soon as it hits the metal and as it's cooling, it starts to get right back to its solid state. So like I said, we're doing it over the double boiler method. So it's just put the pouring pitcher into a big pan with water. The first step that we took was preparing what would be the ice cubes out of gel wax. And we formed it in some silicone molds to do some shapes. So this would be if you had little tiny cubes of ice, and these are just silicone molds. This is a square one. And then since we're doing a strawberry matcha for this candle, then we thought it would be cute to form some that look like heart-shaped. And then these are straight from the container, where I just cut them into squares for the more traditional shape of what an ice cube would look like. So it's very important on this particular candle to have all of your elements ready to go, because once you start to pour, you don't really want to stop the pour. So you want to have your jar ready and wicked, all your ice cubes already formed. The next thing that we need is our wax, and this is already solid, so I'm gonna reheat these and then we'll pour those in. But we want to have these already set, because once your regular wax hits the gel wax, it starts to solidify almost instantly. So you want to, if you want to have that nice blend of the two colors in the center where they meet, then you need to make sure that all of the items are ready to go. So how we got to these colors is we use dye chips. This is a hunter green dye chip, and this is from Pro Candle Supply. And then this is the red dye chip, and that is also from Pro Candle Supply. You can also use liquid dyes. This one is, I think it was just from a Michaels. I think I got this from Michaels a long time ago. And you use so little of these, they last for a really long time. With the hunter green, we barely took off even a corner to get to the color that we needed. Both of the colors in this drink are pastel, so you don't need very much. But we have different colors for the different kind of coffee candles that we're going to try to make. So like this one's the brown liquid candle, this is black. You mix these together to get a nicer tone to the brown. And then you always start with just a small amount, and then you test by taking out a little bit of the wax from the container, and you would just put it on another surface. So we tested it on a lid, just a plastic lid. And you can see the different color variations that we went to try and get the coffee color correct. And then these are the color tests that we started off with for the strawberry matcha. So it'll be a green and a pink, and they'll blend together somewhere in the center. So this is how you test out the color. Every time you add a little bit more of the dye chip in and mix it in really well, then you go ahead and just do a little small dab of that wax on a surface to see what the dried color will be, and that'll give you your final color. All right, so we have our wax melted, and what we're looking for in this is that it's not so hot that it is going to disfigure the shape of the ice cubes that we made. And then we don't want to fill the vessel all the way to the top the way you would with a traditional candle. What you want is to make it kind of look like a drink. So you want space for your ice cubes to sit on top and make it look a little more realistic. So in the other ones that we've attempted to make, this was the iced coffee version with the Sonic ice cubes. And this one we did a round cylinder wick to kind of make it look like a straw. And then this one, I didn't like the coloring on this one, but we used the same wick because we wanted it to look like as if it was a straw in the iced coffee. For the one that we're gonna make right now, I'm gonna go back to our regular wick, which is the Ultimate Wood Wick 0.04. All right, we have our wick in place. So we'll start with, actually, I think I'm gonna start with some of the heart shaped and try and get those closer to the edge. And then add more of the square shaped ones or closer to the center. All right, and our wax is a good pouring temperature. It's not completely solid, but it's not so hot that it would melt these down. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. This is the moment of truth. So on the strawberry matcha, the first color that goes in is going to be the pink. So let's go ahead and start to pour. And straight to the green. And we're going to go ahead and add in our 2 additional hearts. Just want to let it solidify just a little bit more so that they kind of sink in, but not all the way. All right, so this is the finished product. When I tell you that the pour is faster than all of the prep work that it takes to make one of these candles, I am not kidding. We got it for the most part to blend in. We got our ice cubes in the top. So I'm pretty happy with that result. Some of the heart shapes kind of blended into the wax color, and then some of the other ones, they do kind of show through on the sides as well, but you get the idea of the ice mixed within the drink. So here's the end result. Our take on a strawberry matcha candle.